Uh, Hello every day. My name is Alberto Mondragon. I am studying BA in English as a foreign language at National Open and Distance University. At
Okay.
this moment, uh, I'm going to interview
Mhm.
to an English teacher. Please, Alejandro, introduce yourself, please.
Sure, definitely. Well, hi Alberto. My name is Alejandro Quintana, as you just said. I'm an English teacher. I not only teach English and also Spanish. I've been teaching in English here in Colombia and also outside. I currently work for an Australian company and I'm teaching English for Korean students via Skype as well. I have a BA in Spanish and Literature Language from University of Cauca. I have a master's degree that I started in Ecuador in some studies about didactic and how to teach foreign language from Instituto Cari Cuervo. So basically that's very much about me.
Okay, thank you, Alejandro. I have some question about you. This question is about culture.
Okay.
What do you think about culture, Alejandro?
Well, culture is basically well, it depends from what perspective you're asking that. But when someone asks me what culture is, I always say that it's basically what a country and people are, how they behave, what they do, what they act, how they think, and even how they speak and interact with each other.
Okay, thank you. Next question. What is the influence of culture in the process of a foreign language process?
Well, the influence of a culture and the
Yeah.
process of foreign language acquisition, I will say that is perhaps the most important part because it's nothing like it's like you cannot take for granted that the by just knowing the grammatic, you will be able to understand what the people is saying. So I think that having a part or portion of the culture point of view when you're learning or acquiring a foreign language is really important because not only by saying things you will know what those things mean. That's something that I have noticed when I'm teaching Spanish or even English. I've seen that it's really important for me as a teacher to explain what the different perspective of the same word will might mean in different countries. Isn't the same when you are teaching U.S. American Spanish or how Colombian, Argentinian, or Mexican people think or use the Spanish. The same will be backwards. For instance, when I'm teaching English to, right now I'm teaching English to Koreans and Japanese students. I'm working with an external company as well. So I use the examples. Sometimes I need to use examples from American culture for them to understand because they are like the way that they think and understand the language. This language, as you might know, is like it's a whole thing, and the speaking, which won't be the language, is that like the language of the idioms would be different. So you need to explain which word means what thing in every culture. Sometimes I use the U.S. American examples, and some other times I use the examples from UK, for instance, but even Australian people as well. So I think that is the core of all the processes for you to understand in a language is always the culture. It depends what country you teach in and how the student and the students are coming from.
Yeah, it's really, really clear. What
Hmm.
do you involve culture in the strategies you use in your English class?
How do I involve culture?
Involve culture
Okay, in
in the
this.
strategies you
Uh,
use. And please give me some real examples.
okay, so ways basically what I do. How do I involve will be the first questions. I involve them always uh, teaching them how the people that they're gonna be talking with, they use the and see the world. As you might know, I've been in different countries, and I've seen that isn't the same way how you perceive the world when you're people from the mountain time in Australia to the East Coast or West Coast. So I always tell them, like, for instance, let me think right now one example you're asking for one particular. I've seen that when I explain what is the world or how the people, yeah, when I'm teaching how they think or how they see the world outside of their countries, I need to let them know that isn't the same explain what the world is to a person that lives in Nebraska, for instance, to one who lives in California. It's the same when I brought that to like our here in Colombia. When I brought that to the examples here, I always tell them like, isn't the same asking for a people or a person that lives in a little town in Cauca, for instance, or even in Bichada, than a person who lives here in Bogota or in Cali
Yeah.
or even Medellin. So you need to bring out the example. Before you go to the theory, you always need to understand and make them understand actually with their with their environment. That's something that is one of the methodologies for you to teach. There is one Russian guy that is Likovetsky who explained about that. He says the ambientalism, when acquiring a language, not a foreign language, but actually the language, it's really important for you to understand how they use and how they know and how they think about their own lives. Once they understand their lives, it will be when they're going to be able to develop another skill, which is for you to see and understand out of your box, which is the most important, because when you're learning a foreign language, you need to be out of your box, your comfortable zone. So that's one of the things that I always do. I always, before starting teaching how the other country, how the grammar in another language is, I always brought down things from, actually not brought that, I start from the beginning. I let them or make them know how they see their lives, and then ask them or invite them to see it in a different way, which would be through the language and with another culture.
Okay. This is really important. The thing that you said.
Mm-hmm.
What do you consider are the most important elements to succeed in the second language learning?
I think I always teach with three focus. Or the main focus for me is willingness to learn, because like you don't learn a second or third or fourth language just because. So the willingness is something really important for me. The second one is that you need to be ready to feel uncomfortable, because you will need to struggle with your own life, with your own foes and as well fears. Uh, so that will be the third one is always you need to be focused. Otherwise, you wouldn't learn. So I think that by having willingness to learn, be ready to be outside of your comfortable zone, and the other one, which is always being focused. That's something that I always use when I'm teaching.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you have been a couple of times in the United States
Uh-huh.
of America, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And okay. And my question is, do you feel the culture shock when you were there? Yes or no?
No, I did not. I didn't
No?
have any shot. No, it wasn't for me. I think, yeah, no, I think, I know that actually, yes, no, I didn't have. There, I have seen, of course, but I did not.
You didn't notice any difference
In my, like in my life, or with me, like relating with someone else.
in your life?
No, to
Everything
be
is
honest.
everything is okay.
Yeah, for me was everything, like, for everything was okay, like, um, oh, perhaps not. Okay, now I think if you understand the culture shock as like, okay, I have
Yeah.
never seen done this. Okay, now I know where you're going then. The perhaps when you're using the seatbelt when you're going the back seat, uh, there has been occasions when I've been in the States that, well, the first 2 or 3 times that I was there, the I was there and I was driving a car with my friend, and he was with his girlfriend in the first seat, and then I was in the back one. So Taylor asked me. Taylor is his name. He said, well, they call me for my first name, Gabriel. So they said, Gabo, please put your seatbelt. You say, but why? I'm in the back seat. So that was like, why should I put my seatbelt if I'm not driving? And I understood, like at that moment, I saw something that they have in their way of thinking, because they like the protection that does mean. And here as Latin Americans, we're not used to use like those small things. For instance, the seatbelt was something that caught my attention and say, okay, he's right. Why I'm not using it? So I put my seatbelt, and at the moment that I put it, like start thinking and say, okay, why am I using this one here and I don't use it when I'm in Colombia, when I've been in Mexico, when I've been in Ecuador, when I don't use it. So I think that was, it wasn't a shock that wowed me, but actually like invites me to ponder about, okay, why am I doing this here and I don't do it in there? What's the difference between the cars? None, like are the same one. It's just about safety. So I will say that one, the safety issue, is something that U.S. Americans and as well people from Australia that I have worked with, they have in their minds. Perhaps we do not take care of that a lot. We are more relaxed in those things. Another thing that perhaps might be called as also a like cultural shock would be when I was going to restaurants. They have a lot of money, so I was going to really good restaurants. And the when I came into the restaurant, there was a lady saying, "Hello, welcome," and I say, "Hi, thank you." So I came into the restaurant, and then that's actually a job, and they get paid for that. And the other one is like the one who lets you know which is your table, but it's not the waitress. It's a different one. It's like I don't know what's the word that in Spanish, but it's the one that once you get into the restaurant after you have been welcomed, there's another one to say, this is your table, and you cannot take another one but that one. So they get paid for also that. And then you come with the waitress. So I said, why they have two people at the beginning? They should be doing different things, and you say welcome. But it's just to make you feel comfortable, and as a customer, having a really good customer experience. So those are things that perhaps I don't see here, like really simple duties that are called jobs, and that you get paid for that. What else? What else? What else? And that's the last one is just prejudgment because when very first time that I went to Estados Unidos, sorry, United States, Spanglish, my bad. When I arrived to the McCarran International Airport, which is Las Vegas, I was expecting for them to treat me bad. Like, okay, I'm Colombian, I have a red passport, and they wouldn't give me a really good treatment. And I was really wowed and shocked because once my turn on the immigration, heard he said, before me were a couple of Germans and Italian family. And I saw then that the guy that I was taking the line that I was making for, he mistreated them. Like, why are you like he was yelling at them. And I said, oh my gosh, I got the wrong one. This guy would say that he needs to check all my bags and see what I have there. But anyways, once my turn was, he was super, super gentleman with me. Like, he was like, hi, welcome to the United States of America. You need help, you can call this number. I was really like, why I'm Colombian? Like, that's prejudgment that we as Colombians might have. Well, I did have in the United States because I didn't expect for them to treat me well. So that was like a little shock for me, the way that they really kind and treat me well. That's something that I didn't expect from immigration people there. Those might be the three or four things that I will mention that perhaps might be called as a cultural shock.
Okay. I know that you have to work at 2 p.m. and this is the last question.
Sure, tell me.
Okay. Okay. What do you think? Is good idea to start an English class with culture, for instance, a dialogue or some game? What do you think about this?
Dialogues and games, I think that are overrated. So, answering specifically your question, yes, it is a good idea to teach English or foreign language with culture. But remember that culture doesn't summarize just in games and dialogues. Actually, that's what board studies. If you're going to teach about culture, and I think that's the excuse that a lot of teachers and explanation as well, a lot of teachers here in Colombia, they do not do that is because they don't know the culture. So how can you teach how can you introduce and teach about culture that you don't even know? I understand that a lot of teachers here in Colombia, they have that problem with because they don't know the culture. How are you going to be teaching English if you have never been in a native speaking country? So I understand that it is a good idea. Yes, it is. But beyond teaching dialogues or games, I think that the most important part is how the teacher prepares himself. how they know about the culture, what they know about the how states, UK, Australia, New Zealand are. If you don't know the culture, you cannot teach it. That's simple. It is important. It is necessary. I will say that it's actually mandatory because there is no way for you to learn a language if you don't understand the culture. Remember that the language is the expression of a culture. So if you are going to teach expression, you need to teach about the root cause of it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for everything.
Okay,
Bye,
well,
my
have a good
friend.
day then. Bye.
Bye.